Welcome to another year in review video for 2016. I'm Vanessa and this is my channel. I'm focusing on certain categories and where I think certain books that I read throughout the year fit in those categories. In my previous video, I talked about new to me authors that I read in 2016, which I know I'm going to be reading in the future. For this video, I'm going to be discussing the biggest surprises this year. And I had this experience with a few books this year where I kind of just went into it blind and didn't know what to expect, and it surpassed my expectations. It's always fun when you read a book like that. This doesn't necessarily mean that all of these books are like 5-star books. So the first book that qualifies as a big surprise this year was Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. What I really found surprising was how unique the world and these characters were. Nimona is a graphic novel that focuses on these basically villains. It's set in kind of a both at the same time futuristic and also at the same time medieval world. It was really cute and lighthearted, so if you're in that kind of mood and you want a book that has really good characters who care about each other, I definitely would say to pick this one up. The next book that I want to talk about is Notorious RBG. I had heard a lot of hype about this book and I saw it all throughout the internet and on podcasts that I listened to. I didn't really expect the amount of depth that this book gave me. I really expected it to be more on the surface. I expected it to be more, like illustrative based, because there are a lot of illustrations, pictures, and charts in this book. So I thought that that was going to be what this book would focus on. It was kind of the opposite. It was really in-depth understanding of who Ruth Bader Ginsburg is and her history, how she came to the position that she is in on the Supreme Court, and learning more about her life and her husband. I feel like we all have this conception of her based on like Tumblr or wherever else you have heard about this Notorious RBG moniker from, but she is so thoughtful. Even when she messes up, it's because she is actively thinking about the issue. She holds a lot of sway on the Supreme Court and she's very important to the running of the Supreme Court. One thing that sincerely surprised me that I did not know as much about was the real struggle to maintain a job in the 1960s, 1970s. When you became pregnant, it was very usual for you to just be dismissed when they found out that you were pregnant. Just knowing that this was the case for so many women and that Ruth Bader Ginsburg fought against having companies and universities and lots of other workplaces just dismiss pregnant women was something I didn't know before. We have definitely come a long way, and I can see that here because we would think it ridiculous to dismiss someone because they are pregnant nowadays. But it definitely lets you know where we come from and what the state of our ideas are when it comes to maternity leave and working women who are pregnant or have children. Learning more about her husband Marty was so heartwarming, the way that they treated each other and the way that they cheered each other on. Unparalleled to any other marriage that I've read about. I really learned so much from this book. It was just well crafted together, and it really surprised me how much I enjoyed it. The next book that I will talk about is The Decoding of Lana Morris. This book definitely impressed me as a YA story because it was much more understated and had much more complex characters than I'm used to when I read YA. The characters and the plot were really unusual. I'd never read about a foster home or a foster child, and there were also kids with disabilities in her foster home as well, which are things that I had never learned about. But I think what really surprised me about this story was the magical realism involved in it, because the authors really blended grounded real life to this magical world, and they did it so deftly and so good that I was really, really impressed by it. Again, not a perfect story, and not one that's gonna make like my top 10 at the end of the year, but one that sincerely surprised me. I really thought I wasn't even going to finish this book. And the last book that I will talk about is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I just read it this month, but it did really surprise me in comparison to the first Judy Blume book that I read, which was Forever. And I expected that every Judy Blume book that I would read from now on would feel slightly dated, kind of like how Forever feels slightly dated to me. But I did not find that at all here in Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I still feel like all of the themes that she discussed are themes that I can see in our world today. I was really surprised by the emotional maturity of our main character, Margaret, when it comes to her trying to decide what religion should fit for her. Those are definitely topics that I was thinking about when I was 12. And seeing yourself reflected back as a young girl is something that's not always as well done in children's books. So I really appreciate this book. So those are books that really surprised me this year. If you read any of these books, let me know down below, and I shall see you in my next video. Thanks for watching this one. Bye bye.